I'm down here on 17th and South Street. So 17th is the street here, and that's Center City way up there where you see the high rises. I thought I'd walk down a portion of South Street, which is west of Broad Street, as opposed to the eastern side of South Street, which is the eastern side of South Street, which is east of Broad. Usually gets, you know, more activity at night. They have like all the partying stuff. This is the quiet side. That used to be a 7-Eleven at the bottom there, but they left during the pandemic and that whole corner was rebuilt. There's a lot of Bethesda shelter type projects down here. I always recognize it because my dad and his mom and dad and everything somehow have a connection to Bethesda, as if maybe they lived there for a while, or I'm not really sure what the connection is, but anyway. My dad's brother said he went to the same high school at Chevy Chase, the same high school as supposedly Goldie Hawn, which is around Bethesda, Maryland. Same age, but he's older. My dad passed away, coronavirus, December 20th, 2020. Mysterious circumstances, because he and his wife actually traveled on Thanksgiving during the, the peak of the pandemic when no one should have been traveling, that especially older people who were more vulnerable. So I don't know what convinced my dad and his second wife of many years, my stepmother, to actually travel. Somehow they felt compelled to travel from Florida to Delaware. So whoever coerced them put them in danger.
Trash on my block. Well, recycling.
Maybe on purpose. So some personalities are very coercive. Most people during the time of the pandemic, whether you believed in it or not, most people were like, let's take it easy and not go overboard, just in case. You don't want to tempt fate, or you don't want to open up the door for the dark side of humanity. You just don't want to allow the opportunity to come in if it any more than it was. Oops. What if you get a false read on a rapid test back in the day when it was a death sentence? And at airports they had rapid tests. And if you tested positive, and it, you never know if it's a false read or not, you're supposed to wait 10 days back then until you could take a thorough test. But what if powers that be can all of a sudden put symptoms on, or shortness of breath, which they can. We've all had hyperventilation moments or whatever. And what if on the 10th day, when you could have taken the thorough test, is the one day you felt the worst and you felt like you should go to the hospital. Once you're in the hospital, that's it, it's a done deal. They are in the business of doing what they do, hospitals. Some are really great and they actually care for people and want to release their patients. Others are just so in the system of creating numbers, insurance, money, bottom line. We have to report this, you never know where people's priorities really lie. Hospitals are a business after all. They just keep growing. I have a lot to say. I witnessed my mom and aunt in the hospital during the pandemic also. Neither of them had coronavirus, but other things went on, and whoa, never get sick in Gainesville, Florida. That's all I have to say. No thank you. Ouch. We are talking abuses, but how do you prove it? I always wonder, like, how do you prove abuses that seem like just minor negligences? You have to come in with a camera, and I wouldn't have known to do that, and I didn't have the money to get a camera back then. I did have a smartphone at that point, but I am so, and you would have to, it's hard to prove because every little thing, even twisting off the cap of cream and leaving the caps in the bed for the person to roll on who's barely mobile, that's an abuse. Because those things create bed sores, more discomfort, and see how it seems so minor? It's just like the cap off of a tube of, you know, cream because someone's incontinent or something. See what I mean? So how do you prove that? Normally there would just be corrective action. Like, make sure you don't do this. But if you have so many people rotating, you have traveling nurses, you have nurses' aides, you have phlebotomists who are pricking fingers way too much. This is a teaching hospital, North Florida. That's okay, I already reported them to the CIA and the FBI because I was so concerned by what I witnessed. I was in disbelief I was just like in shock and awe. Like, what is going on? So, oops, someone gave me a lens to see behind the curtain from above. Watch the Matrix in action. They know they're wrong. People who do others wrong, they know they're wrong. You never know when it's going to come back to smack you in the ass. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I would like to witness it. So. Hey, a lot of people say that. They say, you know, that justice is served up to those who were calculating, manipulative, cold, what have you. But how many people actually get to see it? Another one bites dust, and another one, and another one. Remember that song? Abracadabra. Wanna reach out and grab ya. Okay, you don't want that happening. Stay away from people who are a little too overzealous about those two songs. Okay? They like to watch people squirm. That's right. Don't mind me, I'm having my morning musings while walking around. So all of a sudden, boom, they closed the University of the Arts out of the blue. Students are like, what? So if you're like a junior at the U of Arts, you're like, oh, I was hoping to graduate.